Hey everyone, welcome to Something Genuine. I'm Twwk, your host. Before we jump into today's episode, I want to thank you all sincerely for joining us on this journey. Whether you tune into just one episode or all of them, thank you if you joined in for all of them. I'm just genuinely grateful that you join me in this journey as we try to strip away the noise, break down walls, really find out about the shared humanity we have between each other. And I think that, well, first of all, I'm saying all this at the beginning of this episode because today's our season finale. And I can think of no better person to be our guest than who we've called in here today. If you're an anime fan, you're almost definitely going to know his work. He's the voice of Legoshi and Beastars, which the final part of the final season has already dropped, so go watch that. He is Tatsu in The Way of the Househusband, one of my favorite roles. He is Kokushibo in Demon Slayer, and he's going to play a huge part in upcoming films. And there's so many other roles as well. But what also makes him interesting is that he is a streamer. He's been streaming for many years. He's a gamer. He also is a VTuber, Alpha Aniki, just does so many different things. And in addition to all that creativity and all that skill, I would say he has an incredible heart. You're going to see that in this upcoming episode. Normally I record this introduction beforehand, but I have to note that what you're going to see is a conversation already in progress because we had some problems with recording, and the first 10 minutes or so of the conversation is gone. So sorry. Mostly sorry to our guests, but what you're going to get is just a whole bunch of meat. So we're going to jump right in, and you will see our guest today, Jonah Scott. So here it is, already in progress.
They may have like some like familial back and forth between each other as like friends, but like it seems like the directors and the producers, they can turn you away for the color of your shoes. They could turn you away for, whatever you were wearing. It was arbitrary. It didn't matter. But with voice acting, that stuff is not in my face. It's not like as immediate, right? It still happens, and I'm sure there's still conversations about that, but like I don't see it. I send my audition off, and we'll see what happens. If they want me, they'll send me an email. If they don't, I get to stream League of Legends more. That was kind of my thing. But I did get discouraged. I did. I really did. I would call my mom every day, God rest her soul, and be like, "Hey, mom, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, is this going to happen?" She just kept telling me to keep moving forward. I almost moved home. I almost went back to Cincinnati. I was lucky enough to book Beastars when I did, and I was streaming at the time. I've been a streamer for 10 years. And I told everybody on stream, it's like, "Hey guys, I'm Legoshi and Beastars." And the furry community actually came and helped subsidize my living situation. They paid I was 2 months away. I legit had a stream. I didn't cry. I did cry, but like on the stream where I was telling people, I was just like, "Hey guys, just so you know, this is cool. I will be able to do this. And this is like going to be a really cool, like sick thing for me to do. But in the next couple of months, I'm out of graduation money. And this gig paid me about a month rent due a season of an anime. So I got to go. I literally cannot afford to live here." And they said, "Absolutely not. You're going to sit there and you're going to follow your dream." And with the 200 some odd people that showed up, 300 some odd people that showed up, I was able to monthly keep paying my rent and keep auditioning. And then from there, I could send my resume, which then had Beastars on it, and then some other like tiny anime and some other stuff that I did, and 55 stage shows that I've done, other studios, and be like, "Hey, look, I'm a consummate actor. I'm a trained actor, but I know the technical aspects of anime and understand how to dub and do ADR. Consider me for your future shows." And then everything started to snowball. I wouldn't have to audition for a couple of things, and I was just given a couple of lead roles. That was I was blessed, lucky. I feel like the stars just aligned in that year and made it so that I could actually continue pursuing my dream and making really cool art with really cool people.
there's so much to unpack there. Oh my gosh. So first of all, I want to mention the furry community because they get so much hate, and it
Mhm.
is just like from the first time I heard the word furry and until modern day, it's just all this negativity, all this negativity. So it's
Oh,
wonderful
yeah.
to hear about the support they gave you, and to I mean, one thing we try to do with this series here is to really just see people as people,
Yeah.
instead of like,
Yeah.
oh, a furry. Well, hold on, hold on.
Yeah,
Just,
labels are whatever. They mean something to the person who put the label on you.
that's a good way of
That's what I
putting.
always say.
That's a good way to put it. So that's a wonderful story. I love hearing that. I don't know if you're willing to talk about this, but you say, "God rest your mom's soul." Is she passed away?
Yeah. She passed away about, let's say, like 3 or 4 months after I booked Beastars.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
yeah. She, died of, what we think to be a heart attack. It was very sudden. She was, like, 57, and she was the person that I would talk to almost every day when I would
Mm,
not have anything else to do. I'd get up, I'd go to the gym, and I would call my mom and talk to her about what we did the day before, what we did, 'cause I had some friends, but I didn't have too many. My family isn't that big, so I have a sister and a brother, and I don't really talk to them that much. So my mom was the person that I called, and the only thing that I really like I regret is it's not even a regret, but like that I'm super bummed about
mm,
is that she'll never be able to see any of the actual work that I've gotten to do. She like as soon as I started booking stuff, she passed away, and I think she knew that I booked Beastars, but like she didn't know what it was,
sure.
and it didn't like register to her quite yet until like the show would come out. But it she's never gonna get to see that, and it's something that I'm probably gonna have to deal with. I'm writing a graphic novel right now that kind of like deals with like grief
Mm,
people how long it takes sometimes for people to grieve, and the process is not immediate, and there's peaks and valleys to it. So yeah, that's kind of one of the ways I'm dealing with it. But like I if I had a wish, I would wish that she gets to see at least one episode, or at least something that I had done with my career.
I don't want to make this episode too much of a bummer,
Sure,
but
sure, no, yeah.
I mean, my mom's in ill health, and
Sorry
we're
to hear that.
preparing what's going to happen next, and similarly, I'm an only child, and so very very close to her.
Yeah.
And I don't want to think about what it's going to be like without her, but it's the way life is. So I want to ask you for advice in advance. How did you deal with the grief? When it happened.
Well, you've got time. You can talk to
Mhm.
her. You can go
Yeah.
and see her
Mhm.
and interact with her, and let her know what you're thinking. Let her know how you're feeling. Show her stuff you're working on. Show her stuff you've been doing. Like let her into your life. Uh, that's the big piece of advice I have because everything that I did, all this, I would just call to complain, honestly, and that was something that
Mhm.
I would be like, ah, man. In retrospect, it was like the last thing she probably heard from me was me complaining about how much it sucked out here, and then now it doesn't suck. I've got a great apartment, and I'm living living pretty well right now. So like it's you've got time. She
Mhm.
my mom went pretty suddenly, so I wasn't able to like say
Mhm.
goodbye or anything like that. Like I lived
Mhm.
in Los Angeles, and I just kind of got a phone call from my dad and my mom or my sister that was just like, yeah, she didn't make it. And I'm like, what do you mean she didn't make it? She wasn't sick. Like, what are you talking about? So yeah, it was really tough. But like, spend the time that you do have.
Mhm. Well,
Mhm.
that's terrific advice. The We're talking about you mentioned Beastars a couple of times,
Oh yeah,
and we'll make that transition over now from the real serious stuff to maybe
sure,
happier stuff, which is
yeah.
that the final half of the final season
Mhm.
is
Second
dropping.
part, yeah.
Second part two, right? So, in fact, by the time this posts, it will be out.
Okay,
Um,
cool. Go watch
yes, yeah, it's out there. Go watch it. So, thinking back over this journey now, it's such a key. I mean, I understood what an important, significant role this was for you, but just having this little conversation here helps really hammer that home. But looking back now over the past several years and having this role of Legoshi, I mean, what has it meant to you?
It's meant pretty much everything to me. It's given me the opportunity because when I moved out here, I knew that I wasn't an anime voice actor. When you would look at my work or see my body of past arts or something like that, you don't look at that guy and be like, oh, he's super into anime and he really wants to be an anime voice actor. That, in my opinion, is like somebody watching hundreds and hundreds of episodes of Days of Our Lives and then saying, "Oh, I want to be a soap opera actor." And it's like, well, you've studied, you know soap operas, but like, do you know how to act? Like, you know how people act in soap operas, but do you know how to act? Right? And I look at people who are, later in their life and they've watched a bunch of anime and they're like, "Hey, I want to be, an anime voice actor." And you got to learn how to act first. That's the thing. So yeah, it was kind of it's kind of tough, but we made it work.
Yeah. Well, that's what separates the fan from the actor. You've got to develop that skill, learn how to
But I
do
will
it.
say anyone can act. It is
Okay.
it is it is a skill that you can learn. I was very lucky that I started to learn when my brain was the most receptive to all of that stuff. A lot of the stuff is just like, science. And it's like hard to brute force a lot of that.
Hmm.
Um, I just, kind of slowly baked in that acting oven for a while, and I came out and I knew what I was doing. But you can be a masterpiece and a work in progress at all times. I still take classes. I still ask questions. I still have doubts. I still worry about things. But back to the actual question, Beastars changed my life. It did. Whether it was the furry community coming and making it so that I can live in Los Angeles for a little bit longer, and then get some traction and finally let the rubber hit the road. Gave me an opportunity as an actor that isn't, doesn't have that crazy over the top anime thing going on to really settle into a character. And since I've done Beastars, I've done JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I've been in One Piece and Dragon Ball and like all these other like crazy, you turning the knob up to 11 high action shows, almost soap operas in their own right. But Beastars allowed me to do something that anime doesn't normally do for one of the first times in my life. And it seemed, I don't know what, this weird confluence of the celestial bodies or something happened where a lot of people watched it. I mean, I think it was the COVID or like the shutdown definitely like had people in. Netflix was what they had, and they were able to watch Beastars. And it's luck. It is luck. Luck is a combination of preparedness and skill, or no, opportunity and skill, right? And I had the skill that I needed, and the opportunities came across my desk, and I managed to execute that stuff and make it work. It has changed my life, but I do feel a lot of the time that when's the other shoe going to drop? Everything's going so well, and I'm doing I'm doing the most that I've ever done in my entire life, and there's an anxiety that comes with that. But yeah, it changed my life to say the least.
Yeah. So it first of all, thank you for all the honesty. You're giving me so much to work on. I've got my
Absolutely,
questions
man.
here, but you're bringing up so many other things I want to talk about. In a sense, like this is a triumphant goodbye, right? It's like thank you for all the years
The
of
last
this.
hurrah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I like that.
I can't take credit for that. It's all Ben Diskin. He gave me that one.
Oh no, you should take it. He'll understand. I, I'm jumping all around. I want to ask you about some of the other roles you've done,
Sure.
but I want to go back to something we talked about. We keep mentioning furries, and then you mentioned friendships. So
Yeah.
this feels like it's way off course, but you
No,
mentioned
no.
in your first couple years where you were looking to get into voice acting, you were finding all this other work, and you maybe didn't have a real large friendship network around you. And I just want to get your thoughts on this. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but you already had this strong streaming platform. You had a very vibrant, I would say, online life, I would assume. Do you think having that vibrant online life and having those online friends impacted the depth and amount of real life friends you had? I mean, is there kind of something happening there?
Well, as a streamer, things I really noticed, living with, I had one roommate at the time when I was doing like a lot of the peak streaming stuff that I did. I it's time. It really is, and that is a currency. Time is all information and time are both currencies. And you can sit in front of your computer and stream for like 8 hours, and you can have some of the most fun you ever had in your life in your room, alone. With a bunch of friends. But I have had online friends, and that's how I got into acting too. Voice acting is, when I came home for the summer in college, I had those friends online that I worked with voice. Like we did radio plays, and we had our own little like troupe online of actors that we would get together and have each other do things for each other and work on tiny little projects or these other radio plays or small independent games or something like that. So I did have a friend group. We were all spread to the four winds. But when I moved to Los Angeles and I slept on my buddy's floor, that buddy was somebody that I met online. That Jalen Cassell actually he's a writer out here in Los Angeles. He's a writer and an actor. He's fantastic. And sorry, they're fantastic. But they helped me in ways that I couldn't do myself, right? They helped me teach. They taught me how to dub anime. They taught that we would sit and watch panels of other voice actors who were like in the generation above us and listen to them talk about their performances and how the day-to-day like session life works. So we learned a lot just it was just like a masterclass kind of living with them and figuring out what we can do. Like we would do and we would essentially do fan dubs, right? So we knew a bunch of actors in LA, and what we would do is Jalen, they would write a script for, let's say there's a movie that we know is never going to get dubbed and it's kind of silly, right? An anime movie. I can't name the exact movie that we worked on, but like it's based on a card game. It's so silly, it's ridiculous.
Okay.
We know the movie was never going to get dubbed, but Jalen was like, hey, what if I want to practice writing? So they sat down and started writing it. And when you write a movie like that, a 90-minute movie, it's written in 2 reels. So there's like one reel and then there's another reel because they're just like, it's such a volume of data. So he wrote 1 reel for a movie, and they would cast the everybody in it, and they would bring them into their apartment, into their booth, and we would dub this anime movie that no one's ever going to see, but it was all practice. It was all practice. It was all for the sake of saying that we did something and had something to show. And like, look what we did together. I did sound design because we didn't have music and effects tracks. We ripped the video, so we didn't have the music and effects like isolated. So I had to get in and do all the sound design, and was also one of the actors and one of the talent that would voice the character. So it felt bohemian. It felt like, living above the stage and then doing a fun thing with your friends and then going and drinking and having some food and then doing the same thing next night, right? So yeah, I did have friends. I didn't have the amount of friends I have now, but I had plenty of friends that freely offered their hard-fought talent and skill to help me become a better actor and to help me become a better member of the VO community. Because honestly, and I watched your interview with Christina too. So like community is a big thing in VO. We all hold rap parties and stuff like that together, and we try and get people out and hang out together because we are not celebrities. The public views us as celebrities, but we are not celebrities. We don't get paid like celebrities. We don't, do what celebrities do. We don't have paps following us around everywhere. Like it is kind of, it's a little isolating, and that's kind of like a layer that a lot of us are trying to punch through to kind of be like, hey, either pay us more or, we're going to do the publicity ourselves or something like that. Right. It's we all help each other. That's the thing I'm trying to get at, is that a rising tide lifts all ships, right? It is this community, VO, shouldn't be like, if you're fighting with each other, if it's catty or anything like that, it doesn't work. The gears won't mesh. It is we, us, our. It is everybody's thing. It is when you're making a show, when you're doing an anime, not only is there actors, there are that are your friends. There are the people that you're going in, like the receptionist, the engineer who's there 8 hours a day, the producer who's there 8 hours a day, the casting director who's there 12 hours a day, right? And then I'm there for 2 hours a day. So if I show up, I'm coming to see them. Honestly, in some ways, where it is coming into somebody else's house, being invited to somebody else's house, and I want them to feel as important to the process as they feel I am to the process. It's again, it is a communal thing, and people remember that. People will. I've gotten roles because I was nice to people, and it's like, that's the bare minimum, dude. Like, thank you for letting me work with you, and thank you for thinking of me. But like, don't think of this as recompense. Let's just work on a thing together, right? Let's do something fun together. I will work with them in any capacity. So that's kind of what I like to preach, is that we need to working together rather than working separately, even though we are in a booth by ourselves most of the time. It's nice to work together.
Yeah, for sure. And when you explain it that way, those of us who are more naive about the industry, or just picture all the beautiful things about it, like you really did a good job of kind of explaining the complexities, all the people involved, and I think those of us who are from the outside viewing in and like, might see you as a celebrity, for instance, right? But there's no paparazzi following you around. Maybe you get noticed from time to time when you're out, but maybe not so much in LA,
That's becoming more and more of a thing.
Okay.
I will say, walking around Burbank and Los Angeles every now and again, maybe once every 6 months, I'll have somebody who clearly watches anime or something like that come up to me and be like, "Are you Jonah Scott?" And yeah, we take a selfie and whatever. It's fun. I enjoy it. But like, I get having that happen every 5 minutes is probably not the best. When you go to a convention or whatever, that is where people can kind of like lightning rod and be like, "Hey, I will be here at this time. Come get a picture with me and like talk to me, and I'll sign your stuff and we'll have a good time." But like, there is a pseudo celebrity about being a voice actor, because there's this weird projection that the Hollywood system from like the 60s, 70s, and 80s has put onto just Hollywood as a whole. Like the Demon Slayer thing, we got to go on the red carpet. That never happens. If they had brought out the Japanese voice actors to go on the red carpet at TCL Chinese Theater, I would have been like, yeah, that tracks, sure. But we got invited. That is insane. That is a crazy, crazy like moonshot for a voice actor, and I want that to be the norm. Not because we didn't get paid to go. I had to buy my own suit. Like, we didn't get. I had to. There was an investment there, and it was just really cool to be with your friends, people that you know constantly. You show up, everybody looks nice. You're like, "Oh my god, dude, where did you get that? Like, I've never seen you look that nice before." You can stand up, turn around to Alex and Alejandro and all my other friends that are in Demon Slayer, turn around and look at them dead in the eye and say, "That is the best I've ever heard you. That is the best performance I've ever heard come out of you from the Sony speakers and the TCL Chinese Theater." That is kind of where I want us to like ratchet up this thing, because if the industry, if the theys at work want us to engage with fandom and want us to have, a lot of the time casting kind of slightly depends on your social media following or how you engage with people, or what people think of you, obviously, like if as a personality, right? Scandals or other things that you've been involved in, those all come like get boiled down into whether or not you're cast. But if they want the social media following that people have and people have worked for, especially as like influencers, there's a cost to that. There is a certain like what am I trying to say? There is a social cost to letting us do that. Like, I don't do this stuff for my health. I do enjoy working with my fans and talking to fans and engaging with fandom because I am a member of that fandom. That's just something that I do. But you get Arnold Schwarzenegger to talk about your medicine in a commercial, because not because Arnold Schwarzenegger is taking the medicine, but because you were paying Arnold Schwarzenegger to talk about the medicine in a commercial, right? I would talk about One Piece if you would put a camera in front of me and talk about that, ask me questions about One Piece. Like that's part of it. And I want to try and make that part of what, voiceover is now. People showing their face, being engaged with fandom, people knowing what I look like, me going on YouTube shows or making shows myself, streaming, being accessible. I feel like that's the next inevitable phase, because the old guard, a lot of the old guard of voice acting, I want to say maybe 60% of it, kind of either oopsed into voice acting, and they're just like, oh, I was a producer at this studio, and now suddenly people like that. They said I had a cool voice, and now I'm in anime, and that's just how it goes now. And I have a house in Burbank, and that's what I do. Like, but this was intentional for me. I intentionally was just like, I'm going to be a voice actor. Yep, that's how it's going to happen. That's what I'm going to do, and that's been intentional for pretty much everybody else that I know. It is a hard fought something that you are doing. It is a loosely competitive net of friends that are inspired and rival each other. And I like that. I think that's great. I think that's definitely where this industry is going to be going.
The premiere, by the way, there was so much joy just in the photos
Oh
that came
yeah.
out of that. It was like they're just having a blast being here, and and I guess kind of receiving the fruits of what you should receive. This was a huge success. You're a huge part of it. And it felt like one of those mountaintop moments.
Yeah,
Like
it really did. I'm just like I say this all the time, and it's kind of like a smack me, pinch me thing. But like, I am a kid from Cincinnati, not from New York City. Wasn't born and raised in the industry. I grew up in northern Kentucky, went to college in South Central Kentucky. I moved to Los Angeles because I thought I could do it, and I was on a red carpet. Josh Hutcherson's from Kentucky too. He's on a red carpet. I get it, and we're not a unique breed, but like it's crazy to think that following something that you did for fun led you to this position. I don't think I could do anything else. I used to make sandwiches at the deli. I used to what else did I used to do? I used to make sound effects for studios and stuff like that as a sound designer. But I, I just think I have my grandma always would tell me before she passed, she was like, you have a voice, and I think you're going to do something with that voice. I don't know what it is, because she had dementia late in her life. So whenever she saw me, she was just like, oh, Jonah, the voice guy, you do the voice. And that was kind of like, I could see it light up in her eyes. And I was just like, oh my God, okay, I do. Whether there's some divine thing that's inspiring her to say this, or some weird synapses firing in her brain, but like, this is inspiring me. I do have that voice. I'm going to use the voice in some way, Grandma. I'm going to make it work. And I was in chamber choir in high school, musical theater, and then using my voice as an actor and a performer in drama, anime, video games. Dude, can you pinch me? I feel like I need to wake up, but like, you can't pinch me through the screen.
you were made
Thank
for
you.
it, but no, it is inspiring. Like you keep bringing up, Kentucky boy, and my, so half of my family is from Southern Illinois. So I know, I know the
Okay,
area.
cool. Nice. Tri-state area.
Right. And you don't think that this is real. This is not part of your upbringing. You don't think this is going to happen. You're kind of stuck where you are. So no, it's super inspiring to hear about this. So I was going to ask you, you're talking about, or you didn't really talk about this. I'm going to talk about it. The anime is really, really starting to blow up. Demon Slayer was huge, right? Where anime movies now are not, I remember going to watch Spirited Away when it got its US release 25 years ago, and no one was into theater, right? It made like $100,000 nationally. Well, now we're seeing anime making tens of millions of dollars in the first weekend. It is insane. It's a reliable moneymaker. And I wonder if you feel, as you're talking about like wanting to kind of normalize this idea of, hey, you guys are the stars. You're bringing so much to this. You should be given other opportunities. And now I'm putting stuff in your mouth, but I'm saying maybe more money, more all these various things, right?
Wouldn't say no.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're at this point where you're spinning your wheels a little bit, or is there a frustration that we're not anime is up here and still the people that are involved in production and making it haven't maybe risen to where it should be, that there's this gap that needs to be filled?
I feel like we're making progress.
That's good.
I feel like it's going in the right direction. Nothing is going to happen overnight. Nothing at all is going to happen overnight. It takes hard work. It takes people knocking on doors. It takes emails. It takes conversations like this. But I have been blessed by the people who work at Viz and Crunchyroll, and they are everybody who works there is fantastic. Everybody who is like production, writers, again, receptionists, everybody who's got boots on the ground in any of the studios in the Valley, any of the studios in Dallas, New York City, Vancouver, they are the real heroes. I just kind of show up and do a voice. But I'd like them to get more recognition, because we've kind of, anime got really popular, and then the voice actors are kind of like coming up a little bit, but we can have the other layer come up a little bit and really show off directors that just do directing. Have them show up at these conventions, because I'm sure they've worked on dozens and dozens and dozens of shows. I'm sure they have absolutely phenomenal answers to burning questions that I wouldn't be able to answer. I don't touch production as kind of a rule, unless it's something that I really, really, really want to work on, or somebody else really, 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 really wants me to work on in a production like capacity. I'm not a director. I'm not a producer. I'm not a writer. Well, I write my own personal stuff, but I'm not like an anime script writer or anything. I'd want those people to get more recognition. Madeline Morris, good friend of mine. They wrote season 2 of Beastars. And in my personal opinion, as I was reading it, I was like, this is poetry. You have turned, a lot of it is CG flaps, so it's a little bit easier to kind of fill those up because they're big and wide. And then it's a lot of like mental stuff, so I have a lot of real estate to perform rather than like being in the box that anime puts you in traditionally. But Maddie was able to rip lines straight from the manga. There are people that care. There are people that really, really care. My buddy Jalen, he always says, "Are we trying to make good anime anymore? Are we still trying to make good anime?" And it is not an accusation. It is an observation. It is when he sits down and he writes something, he's like, "Okay, we're going to try and make good anime, right? We're going to try and make this good, right?" But it's not just anime. There are script writers in video games. There are script writers, and it's just a little, you see Troy Baker's name show up a lot, but like, you have to wait 10 minutes for the writer, like the actual person you have the writer, and then you have script soup, and then you have, AD writer, you have a bunch of other writing people that like work on this. You have a bunch of other people that are like, gaffers and producers, and getting them recognition, I feel like, is really cool. Talking about them and letting people see that there is more than just the top build on the poster.
Yeah. No, there's so many fantastic people involved in anime. And it feels like that those people, everyone's behind the glass in anime, but directors, writers, that they have to also voice act to be able to get some level of recognition.
And a lot of them they are multi-talented.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as you're bringing up people, we interviewed, long time ago, I interviewed Mike McFarland, and of course, everyone wants to talk to him about Master Roshi and so forth. But the first question I had for him, or the first thing I said for him, was like, the direction for Summer Wars was incredible. And he was like,
yeah,
oh, right? He was like, what? It's like, yes, because I watched the Japanese version and then I watched the English dub, and you lifted that material. It was amazing. And because I could see the differences, even again, a novice like me, could connect, another young person in the industry I interviewed a while ago is Macy Ann Johnson, and she's
Oh,
doing a lot of writing.
Macy.
Yeah, she's
I
terrific.
love
She's so
Macy.
nice. Yeah, but she lifts the material. I won't say what anime, but there is an anime out there that's not that great, and she was writing for it, and I watched the English dub, and I was like, this is pretty good. The
Yeah,
writing here is making the difference.
that's something that I really like to move. Like, so there's a big, and I hate to breach this subject because it's a little bit saucy, but like
Please
sub
breach.
versus dub. Sub versus dub is a big argument that people seem to have. I don't know why, because as a dub, there has to be an English dub because it's an accessibility option. There are people out there that can't read subtitles. Sorry, they are blind or they are approaching blindness or have a degree of blindness. They have to be able to hear it if they want to, consume the story. So automatically your argument is invalid, right? But if we try and work with it a little bit, as the sub is one thing. Let's take Beastars. The sub of Beastars is phenomenal. It is incredible because it does things that a dub could never do because they had a technical asset that we don't. They filmed everything on a soundstage. They motion captured. They animated effectively. They had bespoke motions and mouth movements and things like that. That is the challenge of the sub, and it is incredible. However, in the dub, our challenge is to make it as good as the sub without having any of that technical stuff, without being able to get into a mocap stage and record everything. So the fact that Beastars, people enjoy the show and like the dub, to its detriment that it doesn't have the motion capture and that sort of stuff, speaks volumes about how you can elevate something, how you can really heighten language and make something feel really lived in and real. If somebody turned on Beastars on Netflix and didn't know it was Japanese, they probably could get lost in it. You probably could get lost in it thinking it was made in Seattle or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's I do think that the sub versus dub debate is slowly dying. Thank God. There's things that I watch subbed. Uma Musume. I watch Uma Musume subbed because I can't watch it dubbed because there is no dub. So, and it sounds great. I love it. I love Uma Musume. I can't wait for the movie. It's gonna be great. I'm going to watch it next Monday with my buddy.
Well, they're different animals, right?
Literally, it's a horse and a wolf. I'm joking.
No, there you go. So right, but absolutely, and you won't say this about yourself, but I'll mention that you were, of course, Crunchyroll Award nominated for your Beastars performance.
Yeah. And won? You know who won?
I don't know who won.
My friend Zeno won for Hawks, and I will remind him of that almost every day I see him. Zeno is one of the best people that I've ever met in the industry, by the way. He's a fantastic actor. He's a fantastic person. Bless his heart in a non-mean Southern way. Literally bless his heart.
Oh, right. Not that.
He is a fantastic person.
But he didn't deserve to win.
Crunchyroll Award nominee, Jonah Scott. Thank you.
Well, our time is almost up, but I just want to hit a couple more questions because we didn't even get to talk about some of your roles, and I want to bring up Kokushibo because we haven't really gotten to see him yet.
And he's been farming aura in the corner.
I mean, tell me about how you're feeling going into being able to finally voice a full arc involving him.
So for the longest time as a kid, I played Dragon Ball Z Budokai. Dragon Ball Z, trust me, this is related, I promise. Dragon Ball Z Budokai, and in the Dragon Ball Z Budokai, there's they shout out power moves and things like that. This seems to be a thread with me. They shout out power moves and things like that, and I would do that on the playground. And when I would as a kid, I would role play anime villains and do Kamehameha. If I believed hard enough, I could get a Zenkai boost. Punch me in the face, dude. I'm gonna get a Zenkai boost. I can feel it. But yeah, I'm scared. I'm anxious. I'm nervous because this is such a big deal. This is such a big franchise. People have come up to me and told me they've enjoyed what I've done so far, but hopefully we'll get to see the range of emotion and depth that Kokushibo has. But I've always wanted to be a high, like mustache twirly villain, right? Kokushibo is that in a lot of ways, but he is not in a lot of ways. He comes off. I mean, initially he came off as he does come off as this like, yes, I'm a villain. I'm an anime villain. I'm Madara Uchiha or whatever, But there's so many more layers that we get to explore. I've read the manga, so I'm very excited. There are so many more layers. There's backstory. There's all sorts of stuff. I don't know what's going to show up in the movie, but I'm I'm nervous in a good way. I like before you go on stage and you're in the wings, you're standing next to a curtain, you're ready to walk out. There's a flutter, regardless of how many times you've done this, regardless of how much you've been on stage. There is a little bit of a flutter. There's a little bit of a motor going in your stomach. It's just a little bit of nerves, a little bit of anxiety, and that kind of pushes you forward. It gets you to remember your lines. It gets you to recall all the blocking and everything. It keeps you on edge and it keeps you focused. And that is what I am leaning into. The anxiety of performing and doing it perfectly. No, Kokushibo isn't perfect. So why should I have to perform perfectly? Right? The character, any characters that we perform are flawed beings inherently. To make them a good story, they have to be flawed beings. So why should I walk into the booth hoping to make a perfect villain when I just want to go and have fun and do justice for the fans? A lot of when I go in to do anything like this, like for One Punch Man, season 3, the animation was kind of okay, right? It was all right.
Right.
But I had a big fight in One Punch Man season 3. I'm Phoenix Man, and I have been waiting for 4 years to do this. So when I went in, I stared Lucian in the eye, and he looked back with the same vigor. And we're just like, we're not phoning this thing in. I don't care how bad it is. I don't care how, stilted some of this animation is. We are going to make this thing sing, and it's going to look and sound so good. And we did. It is some of the best performance I've ever done. So I want to kind of bring that energy, not to say that this is going to be a bad movie or anything, but like I want to bring the energy and be like, I never phone in a performance. Always going to be 110%. Can't be perfect because it won't be because the character's not perfect. But I really hope that I will perform the movie that I want to.
I love that. So first of all, for everyone who dropped One Punch Man this season because of the animation, go back, watch that fight.
Watch the fight, please. It sounds so good. There's so many layers. I have like 5 different forms. Like it's so cool, man. I went back and listened to it, and I'm just like, yeah,
awesome.
It slaps.
Well, I think you're going to do. I'm super confident for how much it means that you're going to do a wonderful job with Kokushibo.
Thank you.
I really love the choices you make. I think about some of my favorite characters in manga that I've seen you do in anime include Fell from Campfire Cooking.
Oh yes, we love Fell.
Yes.
He's great.
Oh my gosh! Like because you strike that. To me, he sounds like an 80s cartoon kind of character almost, the way you voice him. Yeah. And you're able to, at the exact same moment, have that gravitas and that humor. And that's exactly what's needed for that character.
Right. He can be this like big, force of nature. But at the same time, he's got to have a little bit of fun. And then there's you're right. That's a really good way. I never really thought about that way. So yeah, he does kind of smack of like almost like a Scooby-Doo character, right?
That's what I think. That's right. And also another character I love is Tatsu from Way of the House.
Oh yeah, I love Tatsu, man. I have the apron that I use to actually cook is Tatsu's apron. Like I have it downstairs hanging up on my oven.
Love it. You have so much restraint in that role. And those are kind of two polar opposite roles in a sense, right? Like Tatsu is just so restrained all the time, 95% of the time, I think you do such a wonderful job with him. So I have no doubt that Demon Slayer is good. We're all going to watch on the big screen. Hopefully you'll be in the same theater and another premiere. Yes. And you get to shine then too.
Yeah.
I want to leave you with one more question.
Sure. This
is brand new, so it may not work. You'll be my guinea pig.
Okay.
This is kind of the question that we may end these interviews with. So
sure.
I've got to read straight off the screen. I actually kind of like how this connects because we've talked about family and talked about your journey here. I want you to think into the future, long time in the future, when you're, say, 80 years old.
Okay.
What is it that you want to be remembered for?
I thought about this.
Oh,
And this is something that I've read. I've read other interviews with other actors, stage, screen actors, people like Bryan Cranston and Idris Elba, and other like high talent. Um, and at first, when I first started out, I wanted to look at my IMDb list or my behind the voice actors list and be like, look at all those numbers. Look at the amount of characters I've done. Look at the range that I have. Look at me, right? But it is not a me. Again, I say it again. It is a we us hour. It is a quality over quantity. But when I want to be remembered, I want people to remember me as somebody that has incredible quality of character in the characters they perform and in the character of their heart. So Legoshi is something that people are going to remember me for. But there are characters that I really enjoy, like Aiden Caldwell in Dying Light 2. I will remember that, and I hope other people do too. I want my friends to remember me for the kindness that I have given to them, and vice versa. It's a very big question, and if you're asking actors, that's a tough one because our entire job is to be ourselves. And sometimes that gets lost. Sometimes that it gets lost in the fog of war, as it is. And so it's not necessarily, I don't want a quantity, I want a quality. I do want to keep working, obviously, but it's not about doing 9 jobs in a week. It's about doing 2 jobs in a week and then having a diversity in that, right? And then going back and I'm going to do stream. I'm going to make this cool piece of content. I'm going to, so being a worldly actor and somebody that is willing to work with pretty much anyone on anything. Long answer to a short question, but yeah, I don't want people to remember me for the quantity of what I've done, but the quality.
that's a big question. I appreciate your response. It's I have to say, it feels like you're well on your way. I appreciate the honesty, the authenticity that
Absolutely.
radiates from you.
Thanks, Pete.
That's what we want to encourage in people, just
Absolutely.
to be yourself, understand other people, grow with them, the journey. I mean, I'm like doing it's almost like I'm just going back to our interview we just did right now. But the idea that, hey, it's not only taking you somewhere, but you're growing in the moment. Enjoy the moment, learn from the moment, be okay when things don't go your way. It's all right. It's all right. It's gonna not go your way a whole lot,
All
but
right, man. Yeah. But
keep
when it
working
does
at
go
your
your
craft.
way,
Mhm.
thanks.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you for joining me, Jonah. I appreciate it so
Thank you, Pete.
much. Thank you,
Absolutely.
everyone out
Thank you.
there, for watching.
Yeah,
I,
thanks,
I
guys. Go watch Beastars.
Go watch Beastars. It is out now. So go watch it, go see how it ends, and go watch One Punch Man too. I'm sure it's not as bad as everyone says. We know that one fight at least is awesome. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, all right, thanks everyone. We will see you next time, and thanks, Jonah. We appreciate your time today.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Bye, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed that despite the technical difficulties, which is life when you're me. Other people do things better, but thankfully Jonah is just so honest and so gracious and considerate to us. I'm just thankful that he gave us this much time and so much stuff to chew on. I really think you could probably watch this episode a number of times, right? And think about all the things he talked about, all the different directions. There's just this whole list of questions I didn't get to. And then as he talked, there were so many more questions I was thinking of that I didn't get to ask either, because there was just so much that he had to tell us. What a wise guy. What a guy with so much experience. What a guy with such heart. What a guy who really has an understanding of the importance of people, right? The importance of connection. with his communities, with the other people involved in anime, with his friends that have helped him along the way. Just really has a really impressive and just admirable point of view. The thing we could use a lot more of in our own lives, maybe not you, but I could, just think about others and being gracious and building community, which is what we try to do at Beneath the Tangles. But it happens when you take care of other people, when you love what you're doing, when you love them. And I hope that that's something you can take away from this episode. I hope it's something you can take away from this series, this first season. Thank you to Jonah Scott for joining us. I was just really blown away by him. I'm sure you were as well. And thank you to all of you for joining us for season 1 of Something Genuine. We will be back. Let us know what other guests you'd like to see here. It's going to be hard to top this wonderful guest list this year, but we will try our best to bring in new and other diverse voices to get different points of view, people in different parts of the industry, and learn from them and learn about each other. So thank you again for joining us. Take care, everyone. God bless. We'll see you later.